Hey, Math 140. This is gonna be a quick video. Gonna try to do it in about 8 to 10 minutes. Running through. I've discovered several more things about probably. I would say best techniques you could call it to getting through suggested homework. I'm gonna make two videos. One will be over suggested homework, and one will be over the quizzes and how to handle quizzes and once you take your first attempt on the quiz and so forth. There's still many things that I'm figuring out, to find the best way to work through, but this is kind of a rough run through. So starting us off one more time, remember that, if I was to go and look, let's look at the new assignments I posted. Okay, so like if we look at the suggested homework T1B. Um, so, when you come into this assignment here, if there are any videos, you'll have a listing of videos above. In this case, there's not. So we go in to start the assignment. Please keep note of any teacher comments or teacher directions that might show up right here. There's none on this particular assignment, but sometimes I can slip some little notes in there and just read this first opening screen when you start. Alright, so here we come into our first problem, and of course, this is a pretty straightforward question here, but I want to kind of work through and help you understand some good techniques here. Let's just say, for example, that I know the answer. Well, first thing is I could just, and this is the incorrect answer, so just bear with me. Let me see if I can actually get it right. So that's going to be -4, bring that to be -2, so the answer is going to be +2. Alright, and let's check my answer. Alright, correct, good job. How lucky am I? Okay, let's go on to question number 2. Okay, question number 2, I move that over, that's going to be 9. I move that over, that's going to be -63. So that's going to be -7. Check my answer. Okay, number 3. Alright, well, I'm definitely not going to be able to do this one in my head, and I'm not really sure because of all the extra steps here. So I'm going to take a look at the guided solution. You have solve it and you have show my example, but guided solution, I'm really starting to like this one. The reason that I really like this one is because it says clear parentheses and combine like terms. So step number 1. Well, there aren't any parentheses, so they want us to put our like terms together. So they're saying on this side I have 4 Q's and I have 2 Q's, which gives me 6 Q's. I have a +3 and a -16, so that gives me -13. On the left-hand side, or right-hand side, excuse me, I have 16 take away 5, that's 11. And now I can check. Now what I want you to key in on here is, and I'll make a mistake on the next one on purpose, is you see how that's green? That shows me that I actually had all 3 of my solutions I entered are correct. Alright, so now let's go on to the next one. Get the variable on one side. So it tells me what to do. It tells me step by step. Get the variable on one side of the equal sign and the constant on the other side of the equal sign. Basically, you're trying to isolate the variable using the addition or subtraction property of equality. So we're going to subtract 11q from each side. So that's going to be an 11 right there. And that's going to be 11 right there. When I do that, when I move that 11q over, you know what it looks like to me? They moved the 6. So they subtracted 6q from both sides because of the way it's set up at the end. Okay, so I'm going to go with that. So here I have a +6, a -6. Those cancel, leaving me -13. I have 11 take away 6. I know 11 take away 6 is 5, but I'm going to put 4 here to show you what I'm trying to demonstrate. Now I click check. Now, the key thing is right here is I got something wrong because it didn't turn up green and give me the little green check mark. But it pops up this little guy right here that says try again. So I click on this. Now notice it says, oh, you got this right, you got that right, and you got this right. However, you got that incorrect. Okay, so I close that little screen, and now I can come back there and I can say, oh, wait, it wasn't 4, it was 5, and I can check. And sure enough, you'll see there, I've got my 6's are all in green, and now my 5's in green. Alright, at this point right now, we're going to subtract 57 from both sides. So -57, -57, and on this side right here, I'm just going to make a mistake again just so you can see it one more time. When I put those together, two negatives add to make more negative, so I'm still going to do it wrong. So I'm going to say that it is positive 10, 6, 70. I click check, and once again, if I would have had it right, it would have popped up with a little green arrow and moved me on. But I don't have it right, so I say try again. It shows me, oh, you got everything right there, but that right there you did incorrectly. So I close it, I take a look at it again, I modify my solution, and I check, and bingo, I get the check mark. Alright, so what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to show you that, you can get through these problems and start to understand. So now, let's just say, for example, I don't know what to do next. I'm completely stuck. I've done the problem up to this point. I go through so I go through here and I say, okay, now I'm going to divide both sides by 5. So I put a 5 and a 5, and 70 divided by 5 is 14. Alright, so I click check, oh, try again, remember, and I see that's where my mistake was, so I close it, and I needed a negative sign in front. I click check, and bingo, I'm done. Now I get on to, it looks like the last section of this question. And the last section says, this is a statement, so the solution checks. This is a true statement, so the solution checks. I click next, I'm sorry, check, and I find out both words are green. Okay, so now what I've done is I've worked through this problem as basically as a guided solution. When I go on to number 4, I don't get credit for that question, but I still worked it. It doesn't matter on a suggested homework assignment, you're welcome to do it this way. Okay, now I'm going to make a few more mistakes. Let's say that you're running out of time. Okay, and what I found out today is that you basically have 30 minutes to be sitting here on a question, otherwise your computer might time out. So if you're on a question for 30 minutes, you really need to go to another question. You need to do something to keep your computer active. Okay, and I know if you change questions, watch. So here I'm on number 4. If I go to number 5, and it's not letting me go there for some reason. I don't know why. Okay, I think I might be a little bit frozen up. We'll see. Alright. Let me hit. Alright. Sorry about that. For some reason it was frozen up. So if I go back to number 5, you'll see that my numbers have changed. So I go on to number 6. I come back to number 5. Nope, my numbers did say the same, so I'm okay there. But so just kind of make sure that you're active. Your things are moving around. All right, on this particular question, so I'm working on the assignment. I'm running out of time. I want to make sure I come back, or whatever it is. I'm running out of time. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and say this guy has one solution. Check, I get it right. The solution set is 5. I say check. Says wrong. Try again. I don't have time to try again, so I'm gonna go ahead and move past it. It says, you are required to answer this question correctly before attempting the next part. Would you like to give up? I'm going to give up. Okay, so now what I want you to see is that when I click, I can either save the assignment for later, okay? But if I save it for later, I want to show you what happens here. Okay, if I go to my grade book, and I scroll across, you'll notice here that because I saved it, it doesn't show up. I can't actually go back and look at the assignment anymore. So, however, if I was to go in and continue the assignment, then I can pick up wherever I left off. I can work on that question. So try another one. So I can go through and do guided solution, whatever. Okay, but when I'm all done, I'm going to submit the assignment. It says yes. So if I ever needed to come back to look at that assignment again, the problems I've already worked, I go to my grade book, I roll myself over to the actual assignment, suggested homework, I click on the details, and what did I do wrong there? Well, something weird happened. I don't know. I'm having some. There's a storm going through right now, and maybe the server kind of locked up and didn't save. So, I know that's not the best thing to see happen. Here doing this, but something funny did happen because if I close this one out and I go back into the one that I was in, which was suggested homework TB, you'll notice that it doesn't even show that I answered any questions. I had answered number 1 and 2 correctly. Um, let's go ahead and put in some answers quickly so I can show you what I was trying to see. So this has one solution. The solution is 5. Check. I don't want to check. I want to give up. So I go on the next question. I'm skipping all around to kind of show you a few things. Alright, write an equation. So the equation is 12. Let's see, actually, we're using u plus 12 equals 9. And the number is -3. And we check the answer, and we say correct. So we got number 8. Number 8, the equation is, they want us to use w is less 1 equals 6. And the number is 7. We check. Do one more. On this one, we're going to make the mistake. So 9 plus 4w equals 21. And the solution, I don't know, I'm just going to put 13. Now, what I want you to see here is that more than always means that you'll put like 4w plus 9. And in this case here, we're going to see that when I check my answer, I get it wrong. Okay. Now, for demonstration purposes, I'm going to stop right there. I'm going to submit this assignment. And I want to show you how I can go back in and look at those problems again. So I go back to my gradebook, and in my gradebook, when I slide over to that assignment, suggested homework T1B, that is really interesting. It is not showing up there. So something is going on right now, but that should be where you can go back. Like, you can see that these are quizzes that I've played around with, either with you guys in class or on my own. And if I wanted to go in and look at that quiz and see what I got wrong, and this is all shown in the quiz section in just a minute, I can actually go in there and take a look. It takes just a moment to come back up. So you can see, here's number 1, I got it right. Here's number 4, I got it wrong, and kind of go from there. And I'll show you how to do that in the next video. All right, so that is going back and taking a look at your suggested homework and different strategies for solving.